Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our virtual open house night. My name is Claus, and I will be your student's world history teacher this semester and probably for the whole year, though it may not be in the same hour. Let me start with a little bit about myself. I actually graduated from Clarkston High School back in the day when the current junior high was the high school. And after going to college at Hillsdale College in Southern Michigan and teaching for 1 year out at Anchor Bay, which is by Selfridge Air Force Base, I returned to Clarkston and I'm starting my 21st year teaching at Clarkston High School. So it's been a while. As far as other things I do around the school, I also am the varsity boys tennis coach. And so we are in season right now, and we'll be wrapping up our season in just a few weeks. So that's my other main gig. A little bit about me, I guess, if you care to get to know me. I am a very happy husband and proud father of 5. And my 5 kids are ages 11, 9, 7, 5, and 2. So the world in which I live is very active and very loud and involves a lot of wrestling and board games and youth baseball and building playhouses and that sort of thing. And I just love it. I have 2 daughters. The oldest and youngest are girls, and the middle 3 are boys. And as far as other things I enjoy, I'm a voracious reader. I usually have something going in kind of classic literature and something in history and something in theology or philosophy all going at once. That my nightstand is piled high with books to read. I also love travel and have been to 47 of the U.S. states, and I'm trying to now get my kids to as many as we possibly can. I'm also kind of a sports junkie, not all sports, but we do enjoy sports, and my kids enjoy sports, probably mostly professional baseball and college football, but other sports as well. That's actually another of my travel passions, is I've attended a baseball game at every major league stadium, except for a couple of recently built ones. I went to old stadiums that have since been replaced, but I've been to major league games at 37 different stadiums. And I'm also very active in my church. We go to a little church down in Southfield, and that's kind of a second family for me. So I really love doing that. A little more about this class. So world history is a survey course, which means that we cover a little bit of everything from several thousand years ago to the present. The older stuff is largely review of stuff that the students have done in middle school and junior high, but we do spend a few weeks reviewing, and then we would get to a little bit more, contemporary things. The first semester really is very quick moving and does not go super in depth on much of anything. The point is mostly to just kind of get students aware of certain things as opposed to doing deep dives. And we will get to about the Industrial Revolution, and then World B in the second semester is from the Industrial Revolution to the present. And so it only covers a couple hundred years, giving us a chance to dive a little deeper rather than just hastily moving through things. I told the students, and I like this analogy, that in a lot of ways, the first semester is like if history is a lake, we are like a stone skipping across the surface of that lake, and we'll just kind of touch on this and touch on this and touch on this, and not go super deep. And anyway, so we'll move fast. There's not a lot of names and dates in this class. It's very broad. And so one way I've heard it put is it's like a history class as if you were viewing the history of planet Earth from the moon, where you're standing on the moon and you're kind of looking at Earth. You wouldn't notice necessarily a lot of individuals, but you would notice, the expansion of this empire or the spread of this religion, those sorts of things. And so that's kind of how we approach this class. There is not a textbook for this class. We have some, but unfortunately the book we have is very names and dates driven. And so because that's not really the approach that we're using right now, we don't use the book much. If you want one at home, feel free to have your student let me know. I'm happy to send a textbook home, but we use it probably fewer than 10 times a year. We lean heavily on other resources and handouts. So your students should have a 3-ring binder or folder or something in which they can keep handouts, as well as using the Google Classroom for digital versions of things, because we do really lean on that as opposed to a textbook. Probably the thing you'll see most right away, as far as like homework or things to be working on, it has to do with our map quizzes. We have weekly map quizzes at the start of the semester, and these are basically, we realized after a couple of years of running this course that most students did not even have a working knowledge of some of the places on Earth we consider the most basic. So if we made a statement like the British Empire stretched all the way from the American colonies and the Caribbean to India, and even as far as China, Australia, and New Zealand, we discovered that most students that we had couldn't identify where any of those places were. And so while there's kind of an argument of, well, we can just look it up if you don't know, that one sentence would require, a 5 or 6 minute pause for a student to look up each of those places so the sentence had any meaning to them. So there are map quizzes, and the point of the map quizzes is just to familiarize students without having to look it up or slow down with some of the most important places on Earth. And so there's a focus on major bodies of water and highly influential countries. They have a map packet that has a list of all the dates on which any of the quizzes are, and all of the countries and bodies of water for which they're responsible in a given week. There are also online games through Cetera that are awesome, and students can use those. And basically, they should know by quiz day whether they are actually ready for the quiz or not. If they can do the Cetera game, what's called the type version, where they have to identify and correctly spell the name of the country, then they are ready. And if they cannot do well on that game, then they are not ready and should put in some more time. So there isn't a lot of homework to the class, but that is one thing that you should see relatively frequently. I'm very open door, so if there's anything you want me to know or notice about your student, please email me and let me know. When you have 150 new faces right away at the beginning of the year, it's hard as a teacher to get to know them individually. It usually does happen, but in some cases, if it's a quiet student, it can take even months to really get to know them at all. So if there's anything you want me to know about your student, please send me an email and just give me some background. That's always helpful as a teacher to know what's going on. And if you have any other questions or comments or concerns, as I said, please get in touch, and I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks for watching, and I hope we have a great year together.